Hi everyone, I welcome you all at Apti Plus IAS platform. In these particular videos, we are going to analyze Hindu and Indian Express editorial articles. In these particular videos, we'll not just only discuss issue that is given in editorial, but rather we are going to discuss these particular aspects, these particular articles from background. We'll discuss the main concept as well as way forward. And also you'll find that the notes have also been has been arranged in the format of context, body and way forward. So now let's get started with the video. Okay, so first article that we are going to start is mitigation versus adaptation. Now guys, you already might be knowing that economic survey was released. So in economic survey, there was a specific highlight that was given on mitigation versus adaptation on climate change. So let's understand this particular issue and then we'll be going on that what economic survey has specified in this particular direction. First of all, some basic things we need to understand first. Now guys, you see this particular thing that as we talk about the climate change presently, so we have United Nation Framework Convention on Climate Change which deals with this particular issue. Now there are two dimensions that comes here. Number one is mitigation. Number one is mitigation. And number two is adaptation. Mitigation and adaptation. Now, mitigation's focus is this. Now, see, first of all, in UNFCCC, the goal that has been taken, target that has been taken is something like this, that we want to ensure that global temperature should not rise beyond 2 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. And if possible, it should not rise beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this is an ambitious goal, and this is generally the goal that has been agreed. Now you see that once the climate change will go beyond this particular level, there will be the catastrophic changes that will happen on Earth. Now, in order to deal with that, now see, as the changes will come, as the climate extremes will happen, there will be some losses. So how to mitigate that? How the losses needs to be minimized. Fine. So there are some mitigation efforts that are to be taken up. That how you will cope up, how the losses which will happen should be minimum. So mitigation is to be done. Okay, then there is a second one that comes is adaptation. Now, what is adaptation? So basically, guys, adaptation is that how we are going to change our lifestyle, how we are going to change our practices so that we can cope up in the climate changed world. Climate change world. Now, historically, what has happened? More focus has been given on mitigation. More focus has been given on mitigation. But adaptation has not been focused that much. Now, even the last two conference of parties that have been held, let me give you more idea about that. Two conference of parties that have held, that is in Egypt 2022 and Dubai 2023. Dubai 2023. There was the focus that was made that we need to discuss on adaptation also. And what has happened in Dubai? The countries have decided that they will be coming out with the adaptation plan. So again, I'll explain adaptation focuses more on the climate. Now see, it has been agreed that climate change will happen. Even economic survey has said that there is nearly 100% possibility that we are going to breach these particular limits. So climate change will happen. How you are going to live in this world, how you will adapt with that world. So adaptation plan is to be prepared. This is something that has happened. And guys, the same thing has been discussed in economic survey also. Now first of all, economic survey says this particular thing, that Western countries, they have highlighted that how climate change is important, but none of them has given more attention on them. It has been provided none of the target which were set by the international framework. Which is the international framework here? It is the Paris Agreement of 2015. Paris Agreement of 2015, they have never been met. In fact, climate finance, which was agreed way before the 2015, under which it was agreed that $100 billion will be provided by developed countries to the developing countries for the mitigation efforts. Even that particular money has not come. That has not come. And in fact, in this economic survey that has been released recently, there are the two chapters. There are the two chapters that have been devoted on the topic or on the theme of climate change. Now, basically, the economic survey highlights this particular thing, that what is happening, these two targets that we have agreed, 1.5 degree, 2 degrees Celsius, this particular target was reached without any scientific scrutiny. It is being said that arbitrarily Arbitrarily, these two numbers, 1.5 degree and 2 degree, have been agreed. And developed countries are not doing much. Because they are not doing much, a lot of burden pressure is coming on the developing countries. Now, what type of pressure is coming? First of all, guys, you see this particular thing, that there is phase down versus phase out controversy that was there. Now, developed country says that the developing countries need to phase out the coal. They have to give up the coal. Coal should not be used. Developing country says that no, we cannot phase out, we will phase down. This is one controversy that is going on. Secondly, what is happening? The US and the developed countries say that the countries, the US and the India and China need to take up the more responsibility. But then developing country says that there is the principle of CBDR, common but differentiated responsibility principle. You are violating that. So actually, what has happened at the end of the day, because the climate change is a big issue, these targets were not, they were arbitrarily agreed, and developed countries put a lot of demand on developing country are facing a lot of burden, they are facing a lot of burden. Okay, and we are not ready for that particular thing, we are not ready for that particular thing. So what economic survey says, this particular thing, economic survey says that this is one, the developed countries need to take more responsibility. Secondly, they have highlighted this particular issue of adaptation. So it has been said that adaptation should also get much importance as mitigation is getting. Even $100 billion that were to be provided by developed country to developing country, majority of them was for mitigation only. Adaptation has not been focused that much, and it is nearly, this has been understood very well, that 1.5 degree Celsius temperature range will be breached. It will be breached. Now, at the same time, it is also being provided that as the people will suffer, developing country will suffer. So basically, there needs to be the rapid improvements that is to be done. Investments are to be made by the national government as well as through international institution, that how people's incomes can be improved, how the overall well-being of the people can be improved. Okay, so this is something that they have provided. Okay, now counter argument that comes. So already I discussed this particular thing with you, that 1.5 degree Celsius range was arbitrarily imposed. Now the counter argument that comes here is that you see this particular thing, that 1.5 degree to 2 degree Celsius, it is being said by one group of people that it is not arbitrarily chosen number, rather it is the number which has been discussed a lot by IPCC, in Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and this is the red line. If we go if we go even 1 degree beyond that, then the climate extremes will be so much that we will not be able to withstand that. So it has been said. Now, when we talk about, guys, India in this particular context of climate change, here there is some additional information that I have brought. Now, you first of all see this particular thing, that today presently India ranks 7th in the climate change performance index. So it shows that how India is taking the lead in the climate change initiatives. So 7th position in the climate change performance index. Second thing is that when we talk about India's score in the subcategories in greenhouse gas emission and energy use, India's rank is 9th in the greenhouse gas emission and 10th in the energy use, fine, among the assessed countries. Now, why India's greenhouse gas emissions are less? Why India's energy use is good? It is because of the fact that India's per capita emissions are one of the lowest in the world. A lot of people don't have accessibility to electricity. So in terms of absolute numbers, we do a lot of carbon emission, but per capita emissions are less because of our large population, and because of this reason, India has got 9th rank in global gas house emission, okay, greenhouse gas emissions, and 10th in the energy use. Now, the next thing that comes here is that, guys, climate policy. So India has got the 10th spot on climate policy. So which shows that India has made a progress on climate policy. Now, when we talk about climate policy, you see this particular thing, that there are multiple initiatives that have also been taken by India. I will come on this in just a minute. Then after that, the next comes here is that renewable energy. Renewable energy. Now, India's target is to add 175 gigawatt of renewable energy, but here India's rank is 37th. Okay. Now, the next thing that comes here is that climate change. Now, what are the major challenges of climate change that India is facing? So, I have categorized all these particular challenges at one place so that you get all the information consolidated at one point. First of all, water scarcity is the biggest challenge that India is facing. Now, some data, some quantifiable number you need to have here. Now, according to Niti Aayog, they have said this particular thing, that India's water demand will exceed supply by a factor of 2 by 2030. What does it mean? It means that if India wants 10 liter of water by 2030, we will have only 5 liter. Okay, so 5 liter water is available, but the demand is 10 liter. So the supply demand mismatch will come. In fact, it has been said that if the third world war will happen, it will be happen because of the water crisis. Fine, this is the problem that we are having. Then the next is the agricultural vulnerability. Now, according to IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC's sixth assessment report, it has been provided that monsoon patterns will shift, and as monsoon patterns will shift, now they'll shift because of the climate change, and as monsoon patterns will shift, the countries such as India will bear the brunt of those particular shifting patterns. So this is something that we are facing here. Now, because of that, agriculture will suffer. Why? Because even today 60% of agriculture in India, 60% of agriculture in India, it is rain fed. Okay, then next is rising sea level. So as rising sea level is there, so a lot of important industrial towns and cities of India, they are on coast. So the cities such as Mumbai, Kolkata, okay, they are facing threats from rising sea level. Infrastructural losses will be there, and India will lose around 1500 square kilometer of land by 2050 because of the erosion that will happen by the rising sea. Okay, now, the next issue that comes here is that air pollution. Now, by the way, on air pollution, there is a separate article also that I have taken. So, we'll cover there also. Then, on climate change mitigation, what India has done. So, all these are the plans that India have taken up. I have summarized you and provided at one place. And in fact, I will insist that you please download these particular notes and read these particular notes. So, I will zoom it out. So, what are the important major initiatives that India has taken? So, there is National Action Plan on Climate Change, National Solar Mission, National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, National Water Mission, okay, National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. So just you can please download these particular notes. And now my point is that if a question comes in your mains examination asking initiatives taken by India, so these particular things, at least 3, 4, 5 initiatives you should write. Okay, so these are the initiatives that India has taken. Now, what more points can be there? What could be the way forward? What could be the suggestions that we can give? Now, this suggestion is going to be a universal suggestion for any type of a question if it comes in this particular capacity. Yes, so let's see that what can be the suggestions in this capacity. So number one, climate resilient crop varieties. So those particular crops which can withstand extreme temperatures, which can withstand the drought type situations. Fine. So such kind of a drought resistant crop varieties, hardy crops, okay, climate resilient crops are to be focused. In fact, guys, the millets which have been referred by the government as a Shri Ann, millets, they have been referred as a Shri Ann. So they are an example of a climate resilient crop variety. There are many native crop varieties also which are climate resilient. We need to focus on that. Secondly, what we need to focus upon, is that, okay, yes. Now, the secondly, what we need to focus upon is that we need to develop now with due environmental safe regards. Now, always say this particular thing. If you are saying with due environmental safe regards, genetically modified crops can be explored. For example, DMH11, DMH11 mustard, DMH11 mustard, which has high crop, which has high crop yield, and also has it has been claimed that it is climate resistant. So this is something. Then what we can do, basically, guys, India has already promised that 2.5 to 3 billion ton, 2.5 to 3 billion ton additional carbon 2.5 to 3 billion ton of worth of carbon sink will be developed by India. That is one. Then additional, India had said that 1 billion ton more carbon sequestration will do by 2030. So how that particular thing can be done? First of all, we need to ensure that the forest cover of India is preserved. Secondly, what can be explored? So vertical forest in the urban areas can be explored. So basically on the metro pillars, on the big skyscrapers, building, etc., vertical gardens can be explored, which will help in carbon sequestration. This is something that can be done. Then floating solar farms, So basically, when we talk about the solar parks, many number of times we see this particular thing that a lot of land is needed for solar parks. And because of that particular thing, always there is this particular issue that is there. Now, what can be done on the canals, on the rivers, on lakes, reservoirs, water bodies? Floating solar parks can be developed. First of all, they will prevent the loss of water due to undue evaporation, and secondly, it will also minimize the cost. So, uh, floating solar farms can be explored. Okay, also guys, you see this particular thing, floating solar parks have one more benefit. Let me explain you this particular benefit that is there. You see, uh, solar panels, they are to be cleaned very regularly. Now you see one issue that we have is that a lot of solar parks, you see, they are being developed in the Rajasthan, Gujarat region, largely the arid or semi-arid belt. But for cleaning the solar parks, solar panels, we don't have adequate water supply in these particular areas. Okay, so if they will be developed on water bodies, so easily through the water there, they can be cleaned also. So this is one win-win situation that we have. Then community-based climate insurance. So basically, guys, schemes need to be brought, fine, which will involve local communities. Okay, they need to be given adaptation strategy. They need to be given technical know-how that how they are going to deal with the climate change. Then for the carbon credit, now you see this particular thing that what has happened, multiple programs we have come out with a green credit program, we have already come out with a carbon credit program, where what is to be done, the basic idea is this very simple, that every unit will be given a carbon quota, maximum carbon that they can emit. If they go beyond that, then they need to buy the carbon credit. Now from where they will buy the carbon credit? From any such other industry which was given the carbon quota, but they have don't which haven't completely 100% used that carbon quota. Fine, from there they can buy the carbon credit. So for managing these carbon credits, there will be the blockchain technology that is to be used. And then seaweed farming. Okay, so seaweeds over the water bodies, etc., they can also absorb a lot of carbon. So seaweed farming. Then climate smart transportation, waterways should be explored. Okay, efficient railways should be explored. Fine, in fact, India has already decided to come out with 111 national waterways. So these waterways are to be explored. Then moving on, Google's emission footprint increases amid AI boom. Okay, yes, yes. So here we have this particular article. Google's emission footprint increases amid AI boom. Why AI is present and future brings some serious environmental concern. Now you see this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the artificial intelligence, you see this particular thing, Google, OpenAI, they have taken multiple initiatives where they are exploring the artificial intelligence. Google's Gemini is a AI based platform. Even Meta, their Llama 3 large language model is there, which is based on AI, or Chat GPT, OpenAI. Now, a lot of development is going on the AI front. Now, what has happened recently? Google, they released this annual environment report, and in this particular report they have revealed this particular thing, that there will be 13% rise in emission footprint in 2023. Why 23% emission rise? Because you see this particular thing, there are the massive data centers that are there are massive computing facilities there are there, and these computing facilities, the data centers, they need a lot of electricity for operation as well as for cooling purposes, for cooling purposes. And because of that, now you see, when more electricity is needed, what will happen? Automatically the carbon footprint will go up. Now you see, there is the AI development that is going on, and for that AI, massive computing is needed, huge data centers are needed. Fine, so what is happening? Basically the AI tool, they will also need a lot of power. Now, just a data here we have, and I will insist you that you please use this particular data along with the source. What is the source? Source is Google's annual environment report. Now, you see this particular thing. One simple AI query. Okay, use for example, you ask Chat GPT, who is the president of India, or you search that particular thing on let's say you ask you on the chat GPT, you run a query that write an essay on the office of President of India, and the same query you run through Google. So AI query uses 10 to 33 times more energy than a regular Google search. Okay, so AI emits more. Now, AI model, artificial intelligence based models, find they process more data. They process more data. More computational capacity is needed to process this data. And for more computational capacity, what is needed? More electricity is needed. So they process more data, generate more electrical signals, they generate more heat, and for heat management, there are the cooling that is needed. So therefore, they are going to emit a lot of energy. Now it has been provided that what is going to happen, data centers, they will account for 1 to 1.3% of global electricity demand. Fine, 1 to 1.3% of global electricity demand will be there. So therefore, guys, the AI that we say, it is going to be a breakthrough technology on climate front. On climate front, it will have a negative impact. Now you see this particular thing. Now they are consuming 1 to 1.3% of global electricity demand, but it will increase and it will be double by 2026. Ireland's data centers consume 18%. Now Ireland, they have a lot of data centers. So 18% of the national electricity is consumed by these data centers. So this is something that is going on. Fine. This is something that is going on, and India has also expressed the concerns with respect to that. Now, on climate front, basically Paris Olympics that are now scheduled, they are being said to be most climate friendly, Olympic Games. Now, what are the examples here? So guys, I will advise you to please directly pick the point from here and use in your answers. Number one, low carbon infrastructure. So basically venues that have been designed, materials that have been used in venues, they are the ones which don't, which have not consumed a lot of carbon, which have not emitted a lot of carbon during their manufacturing. Renewable energy sources, solar, wind, okay, electric and hybrid vehicles are being used, sustainable materials, carbon offsetting through reforestation, renewable, then waste reduction and recycling. Okay, this is something that have been done. Now you see this particular thing, one viewpoint I just want to give you here, that when Olympic Games or such big games are considered, often they have been criticized that it leads to a lot of unsustainable infrastructure, which later becomes a very big issue for the countries. So billions and billions of dollars are invested, but later this infrastructure is not used that much. Okay, so here guys, the Paris's example can be used in a positive capacity. Now moving on guys in this particular direction, and let's take the next article. So next article that we have here is the governor's immunity. The governor's immunity. Now, first of all, guys, let me give you the background of this particular article. Now, this particular article we are going to use with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to polity, issues related to federalism. Federalism and polity, we are going to see this particular article. Let's discuss that what is this particular entire articles and this issue. So basically, guys, Supreme Court is hearing a petition with respect to the scope of Article 361. Scope of Article 361. Now, let's discuss that what is this entire issue all about. So you see this particular thing. First of all, what Article 361 is all about. Okay, so what I will suggest you that you can please come directly on this particular the box that we have here. So first of all, Article 361 subclause 1. So what it provides? It provides that the president or the governor is not answerable to any court for the exercise of their powers and duties. Okay. So in the exercise of their powers and duties, if anything has been done by president and governor, they are not answerable to the court. Immunity. Second immunity is protection from the criminal proceedings. So no criminal proceeding can be instituted against them, that is the president and governor, fine, during their term. So number one, they are not answerable to the court of law. No criminal proceedings can be instituted. Article 361 subclause 2. And then we have Article 361 subclause 3. What it provides? No arrest or imprisonment during the term can be done. And then we have Article 361 subclause 4. It talks about the civil proceedings. So civil proceedings can be instituted against them, but first a 2 month notice is to be given. First a 2 month notice is to be given. So what it reads, no civil lawsuits can be filed against them until the 2 months notice that has been given. So this is what we have with respect to the immunities of president. This is what we have with respect to the immunities of the president and governor. Now, first of all, what is the origin of these particular immunities? So basically, immunities for the office of governor and president, it emerges from the principle of rex non potest peccare. What does it mean? It means that the king cannot do any wrong. So president, the governor, which are believed to be the nominal head, fine, in their respective capacity, president is the nominal head of the state. Okay. Uh, now, so basically, so it has been believed that they cannot do any wrong, that they cannot do any wrong. Okay, so it is believed that they cannot do any wrong. And because they cannot do any wrong, because they cannot do any wrong, these immunities have been given to them. In fact, the Constituent Assembly, it was discussing Article 361, and one of the member of Constituent Assembly, that is H.V. Kamath, fine. So he also raised this particular thing, that in case president or the governor commits a crime, does this clause mean that no proceeding can be instituted against them, that is the president and governor? And he also asked that if the president should remove a governor or ruler committee in case of prima facie case. So my point that has come here is that basically the matter was raised in the Constituent Assembly, but much discussion didn't happen. In civil proceeding, it was agreed that okay, a 2 month notice is to be given, but in criminal proceedings, much discussions did not happen. And multiple judgments have been given by the courts in this particular direction. I have provided all the major judgments that have been given here. And let's see the reference of these particular judgments that we have. Okay, only the highlighted portion that I have given, you please go in that only. So basically, the first we have is SC Barat versus Hari Vinayak Pataskar case. Now, in this particular case, it was provided that a distinction. It was provided that a distinction is to be made between governor's official and personal conduct. Complete immunity is granted for official action, but civil proceedings can be initiated. What was provided in the constitution, simply they have observed the same thing. Much breakthrough has not come here in this particular capacity. Then there was Rameshwar Prasad case of 2006. In this particular case, it was provided that there is a complete immunity under Article 361 for constitutional action, but judicial scrutiny for malified actions. Okay, malified actions means the actions done under the bad intention. There, the scrutiny can be carried up. Okay, then then after that, directly you need to come on this Telangana High Court judgment. Now my point is that, guys, though I have provided you all the major judgments in this particular document, but you are not required to read and mug up all the judgments that are there. This particular issue was too much in the news. Okay, so you need not to mug up all the judgments, only 1 2 judgments, and as now the matter will go to the court, what will happen, what are the broad contours that you need to know. Now Telangana High Court judgment was came in 2024, which is the latest one, and here it was said that there is no express or implicit bar in the constitution which excludes the power of judicial review. So it has been provided that yes, immunity is given to them under Article 361, but the judicial review also can be taken at the same time. Okay, so this is that we have. Now, basically, when we talk about, guys, the US, what is the US's situation? So in US, Supreme Court recently they have said this thing that the US president is entitled to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for official act, but not unofficial or personal act. So if in any personal capacity some offense has been committed, then there is no immunity. Only in official capacity, if they have done something, they have immunity. Now, in this particular capacity, guys, now we need to see that what India is going to do, and for that now the Supreme Court is going to take up this particular matter. So this is, guys, this entire issue. But as you are reading the governor topic, so basically there are certain reforms that have been made here in this particular front, and here we have Sarkaria Commission, okay, Venkat Chalia Commission, or the National Commission to review the working of constitution, and then there is also There is also the Punchi Commission. Now, these three commission has given some recommendations with respect to the governor's office. I have compiled all of that here. However, it doesn't pertain to the present article. I'll advise you this particular thing that you please download these particular notes and please go through these particular recommendations also. For example, Sarkariya Commission, what it recommended that the governor should be appointed after consulting the chief minister of a respective state. Why? Because of the fact that often there are the political disputes that happen because often governor and the chief minister, they might be belonging to different ideological camps. So therefore, in order to avoid those disputes, consultation should be done. What we have here, focus on female employment to counter unemployment. Okay, now this particular article discusses the issue of declining labor, declining employment opportunities, increasing female labor force party, basically increasing unemployment, and the issues with respect to the female labor force participation rate. Let's discuss this particular entire issue. Now, this particular issue we are going to discuss with respect to GS paper number 3, issues related to employment. Fine. Now, what has happened recently? First of all, what is the context of this particular article? So, recently, India Employment Report 2024 was released. Now, who releases this particular report? So, this particular report is released by Institute for Human Development as well as International Labour Organization. And this particular report has given some information. This particular report has given some information with respect to the unemployment rate. Now, this particular report says that when we talk about the unemployment, it has increased from 2%, it stood at around 2% in 2000, and it has increased to 5.8% in 2019. Okay, so it has increased to 5.8%. So you can see that how alarming unemployment has become, 5.8% in 2019. Now, when we specifically talk about the employment patterns, when we specifically talk about the employment patterns, so here you see this particular thing that basically by 2022, unemployment has basically little bit it got relaxed, but still it stood at 4.1%. 4.1%. Now, underemployment means people doing the job or doing the work which is unsuited for their skill set or for their education. That underemployment is even more high. Underemployment is even more high. So when we talk about the underemployment, so underemployment is even more high. So underemployment is 7.5% in 2022. Now, what is underemployment? Underemployment is the people who are doing work, but that work is not suited to their skill set or that work is not suited to their education. So that is the underemployment, and underemployment is also very much high. Now, when we talk about the labor force participation rate, it fell from 61.6% to 55.2% in 2022. Now, what is this labor force participation rate? So, let's say that this is the entire population of a country. Now, in this particular population, a particular part of population is one which is neither working, don't want to work. There are children, there are the old age people who cannot work. There are then the people who are not willing for work. So, we have a particular population which is that one. Other one, the people who are either working or looking for work or seeking for work, they are called as the part of a labor force. They are called as a part of a labor force. So labor force participation rate also, it has come from 61.6% in 2000 to right now around 55.2% in 2022, which again becomes a kind of an alarming issue. Now, when we talk about the female labor force participation rate, so in labor force participation rate, if we just take the female labor force participation rate, so where it stands as of now. So female labor force participation rate, it is 36.6% in 2022. In fact, periodic labor force survey report, that we have, it has pointed out that it being around 37%. Now, global comparison. So if we talk about the global comparison, so what is the average female labor force participation rate in the world? It stands at around 53.4%. It stands around 53.4% and compare to 36.6% that we have in rural India. Okay. Now, majority of women, why they are not able to the, why not they are not why they are not able to be the part of formal economy? It is because of the fact that a lot of them are involved in the unpaid family labor. A lot of them are involved in the unpaid family labor. 36.5% of female are they are working as the unpaid laborers. So these are the problems. These are the problems that we are facing in the labor sector. Okay. Now, one thing is that whenever you are writing the answers on economy, often this particular issue comes here is that our answers don't have substance, maybe because of the fact that we are not able to point out the data. But here we have all these particular datas. Now, what are the suggestions that are needed, the implications of this particular thing, and what is needed to be focused upon? First of all, because women are not coming in the labor force, just 36.6% is the female labor force participation rate in rural areas. There is untapped potential for female employment. We are not able to tap their potential. Strategic interventions are needed. We need to focus on rural areas, that how the women centric jobs can be created. A lot of social stigmas are there because of which women are not able to participate in the labor force. For example, there is a stigma against women working, there is the safety concerns that are there. These aspects are needed to be reduced. Then basically, what are the efforts that have been taken? Now government is coming out with a gender budget. Now what is this gender budget? So specifically fund are allocated for the women centric schemes and women centric initiatives. Now when we talk about the gender budget, so basically there is a 218.8% increase that has happened in the gender budget, and of the total budget 6.5% of the budget share is coming, it is the gender budget that we have. Also, next thing that comes here is that we need to promote the entrepreneurship. We need to promote the entrepreneurship by using the schemes such as the Stand Up India. Now, recently, government came out with a very good initiative also, that is the Lakpati Didi scheme. That is Lakpati Didi scheme. Now, what is this Lakpati Didi scheme? Government is going to train the women. So here, what will be done? Basically, women would be trained so that they can earn 1 lakh rupees of per annum income. So idea of government is to train at least 2 crore women so that they can earn 1 lakh rupees of annual income. Okay, economic self sufficiency. So they will be given the skill sets, so that they can do plumbing work, they can become the drone engineers, they can repair the drone. Such kind of things will be provided to them. Then after that, there will be the there are the financial inclusions of women that is being done through the PM Jan Dhan Yojana. Okay, so basically, once women have the financial instruments, once they have bank accounts, once they have such kind of an instruments, what can they get? The excess of formal credit. By that formal credit, they can start new business, they can start new ventures, they can get the initiatives, a lot of government schemes that are coming. Okay, then in political front, what has happened through 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act? Through 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, they have been given 33% reservation quota in Panchayati Raj and the urban local bodies, and then through 106 Constitutional Amendment Act, they have been given reservation in the Legislative Assembly and the Lok Sabha. Then Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan specifically focused on the education of the women. So Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, it got started after the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act came, that is, which recognized the right to education. But to ensure that right to education reaches to women, specific interventions were made. Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan got started so that women's enrollment in secondary education improves. Then after that, the skilling programs in Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, specific focus in Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, specific focus is being given to the women, given on the women. So basically, under the PM Kaushal Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, women enrollment increased from 42.7% to 52.3%. Okay, so here we find this particular thing, that the women are being focused upon. Then fine, we need to also focus on the gender based violence that is there. For example, Nirbhaya fund, a lot of fund is not utilized properly. One stop centers, which are the dedicated centers which provide all the support to women who have faced some kind of an harassment, they are needed to be focused. Okay, then after that, technological inclusion of the women, fine, cultural shift. We need to change the perception in the society. So patriarchy that is there, toxic masculinity that is there, it is needed to be corrected. Only by that we can expect that a everlasting change will come towards the women's and their condition. So that is, guys, all about it. And now moving to the next article. democratization of digital public infrastructure. Democratization of digital public infrastructure. Okay, so let's understand this particular thing, guys. Now, you see this particular thing, there are certain key concepts that I'm going to use from this particular article for our examination. Okay, so India must ensure democratic digital infrastructure is shock proof. Now, you see this particular thing, that what has happened recently, supermarkets, bank, hospitals, airports, many of their servers, they faced a blackout. Many of the servers were not working, so because of a glitch that came recently in the Microsoft's operating systems. Now you see this particular thing, guys, that there are certain key concepts that you need to understand here. Let's discuss them one by one. Now you see that when we talk about democracy, the key characteristic of democracy is continuing responsiveness of the government to the preferences of the citizen, and they are to be considered as political equals. Robert Dahl. This is the most important consideration of a democracy. Now, there are two keywords that we have here. One is modern democracy and one is the digital democracy. Now, what is this modern and digital democracy? So, modern democracy is the combination of technology with the democracy. Combination of technology with the democracy. So, basically, how technology can be brought in democracy so that the deliberation, citizens' involvement with the government can be increased. That is modern democracy. After that, here we have digital democracy. Digital democracy. So, digital democracy refers to a phenomena when the digital democracy refers to a phenomena where the democratic institutions, they go digital when the government services are being provided through the digital ways. And here we have the digital public infrastructure that has come out. Let me explain you this particular thing. Give me 1 minute. So, what is the digital public infrastructure? Digital public infrastructure are those platforms. These are those platforms or those particular applications which provides the governance facility to the citizens with digital interface. For example, we have Aadhaar. We have Aadhaar. Now, Aadhaar is a digital identity. Aadhaar is a digital identity. So, what can happen through your biometric? Your identity can be verified digitally. CoWIN is there. Then the DigiLocker is there, which can help in the document management. Okay, so CoWIN, Aadhaar, DigiLocker. Then there is the APAR, One Nation, One Digital Student ID that has been there. Then there is UPI. Okay, all these are the part of the digital public infrastructure by which ease of governance is being provided to the citizens. Fine. So digital democracy has increased in India. Now, the digital democracy's proliferation that has happened in India, it is largely after the Digital India program that got launched post 2015. So, Digital India program, it aims to provide the government services to the citizen through digital technologies. Now, you see this particular thing, that when we talk about the India, Digital India is oriented on three key pillars. What are these three key pillars? Number one, digital infrastructure is to be developed. Governance and services on demand are to be provided digitally. And the third is digital empowerment of the citizens. Okay. Now, what has happened? Aadhaar card today, it covers 99% of adult population, which is a online digital ID. Then after that, India Stack. Now, what is India Stack? India Stack refers to the applications government has come out with. For example, UPI, DigiLocker, CoWIN, all they are the part of Digital India Stack. So today, this Digital India Stack, it has led to the saving of equivalent of 1.1% of GDP. Then financial inclusion. Okay, what has happened? Banking services, 35% to 80% in the people today, they have got the financial inclusion. And here also the digital technologies have helped a lot. Now India is moving towards the Digital India 2.0, where the digital technologies will be used to boost up the economy. Okay, now this is something that has happened. Now, I already talked about the digital public infrastructure, which is a set of platforms and applications through which the governance services are provided to the citizens digitally. Now, what are the components under Digital India stack? First, we have Aadhaar. Then next we have UPI, DigiLocker, and likewise a lot we have here. Okay. Now, all that entire information I have provided here in this particular box. Now, at the same time, guys, though digital democracy is flourishing, that is a good thing. But we need to have the safeguards also to ensure that disruptions in this digital democracy don't come. Now, what kind of disruptions may come in digital democracy? First of all, there is a digital trust. Now, sometimes people, citizens, they don't have a faith on these digital technologies. For example, a lot of people will not use UPI. Lot of people will not be using UPI. Why? They think that sometimes, uh, though people will say that we have transferred the money, but will not get. So many people are not using it. Trust is not there on digital technologies. So digital trust is there, which needs to be built. Okay. The next is no. The next is government is moving and it is integrating digital technologies in a lot of front. Smart cities, digital technologies being integrated, health, digital technology is being integrated. There is Ayushman Bharat digital mission that is there. But what we need the solid digital infrastructure to utilize this particular technology. We need to have a solid base of AI. We need to have a solid base of data centers that we don't have. We don't have solid infrastructure to support so many initiatives that we are bringing on the basis of digital technologies. Data centers, we don't have it. The next issue that comes here is the cyber security risk. Cyber security risk. So every day, 3,000, sorry, Indian businesses, they are facing 3,000 cyber attacks every week. Okay, so though we have initiatives such as the National Cyber Security Policy CERT in, but they have not been able to prevent these many cyber attacks are happening around 3,000 per week. Then the next is the issue with respect to the data sovereignty and privacy. Though we have come out with the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, okay, but at the same time, guys, there are the concerns. For example, it enforces a data localization. What is data localization? Let me tell you. So basically, data localization is a principle. Okay, so what is data localization? Data localization is a principle that all the data let me explain you with the help of an example. Suppose Amazon, it is collecting a lot of data. Amazon is collecting a lot of data. Your credit card information is being, they are collecting, they are collecting a lot of other informations. Physically, where the data is being stored. Sometimes they are storing the data physically in some server located in other country. So data localization says that that data is to be stored within the country. That is data localization. Now, telling you very clearly, basically, data localization has not been enforced very hard. Though they have tried because they say that you can take out the data, but you can take data to other country, but only with the consent. They have tried to force the data localization, but not that very, but not in a very hard way. Okay, so this is something that we have. So what we need to do? We need to move forward and we need to resolve all these particular challenges. First of all, we need to invest robustly in the data infrastructure. Secondly, in data literacy, we need to invest. Then in cyber security, we need to invest. These are the three core pillars where we need to invest so that we can safeguard our digital democracy. Okay, so that is about it. And now moving to the next article. Climate change and heat stress. Climate change and heat stress. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, disaster management and related issues. Now, okay, so see this particular thing that what has happened recently, climate change extremes. We are seeing already that the climate change extremes, they are reaching the new heights, and now as the season of summers is there, we see that every day temperatures, they are touching the new heights. And here climate, here the heat stress, heat waves, they become very concerning, particularly the laborers who are involved in the manual work. Now, it has been provided by the ILO that heat stress, now heat stress, what it does, it affects the labor efficiency. Heat stress affects the labor efficiency. It reduces the working hours. It reduces the working hours. Okay, now construction workers, they are working out, there is a lot of heat, there is a very high temperature, obviously their efficiency will go down. Now, so basically, heat stress can lead to heat stroke, heat cramps, cardiovascular diseases. Now, when we talk about a human, you see this particular thing that normal physiological functions, they can be maintained at the range of 37 degrees Celsius. When the core body temperature goes beyond 37 degrees Celsius, a person cannot function normally. Physiological functions, they are hindered. Okay. Beyond 38 degrees Celsius, cognitive, physical capabilities of a person is hindered. Now, you see this particular thing that often women, they are more vulnerable to heat stress. Why women are more vulnerable to heat stress? Let's understand this particular thing. Guys, when we talk about women, women's involvement in agriculture sector particularly is very high. Okay, majority, a lot number of women are leading the farm work. So when they are involved in subsistence agriculture, okay, they face a lot of they face a lot of heat vulnerability, and because of that, premature birth, miscarriages, these dangers increase. Now, here, what will be the impact of these heat stress on labor? We have some data here by ILO. So ILO provides this particular thing that 2.41 billion workers, they are exposed worldwide, are exposed to the heat stress. 2.4 billion, 2.41 billion workers, ILO report. Please use the data. Secondly, heat stress is reducing the global working hours by 2.2%. Okay, so global working hours will reduce, and because of that, the global productivity will reduce. Global GDP could decrease by $2,400 billion by 2030 because of the heat stress. Because here, working hours will go down, productivity will go down, economic efficiency will go down, and $2,400 billion would be lost in the global GDP. Next, agriculture workers will bear the maximum burnt. 60% of the lost working hours will be from agriculture sector. Okay, and when we talk about India, still today large section of Indian society is involved in the agriculture and related activities. So a huge a huge loss will be there on India. Then regional impact. Now you see this particular thing that Asian Pacific region. Okay, so basically GDP loss with the forecast. Okay, so GDP losses will be there, which is going to be the tune of 2.3%. And Thailand, Cambodia, and India specifically are the countries which are most vulnerable to heat stress. So India, because of tropical geography of India, and secondly because of the India's high involvement, high number of people participating in agriculture sector. Okay, so this is something that is there. Now, when we talk about the heat stress impact on India, so 160 to 200 million people, they are at the risk of the heat wave. Okay, so this is something that we are going to see here. Okay, and guys, migrant workers particularly are facing the biggest problem here because they are the one who are largely involved in the manual work. They are the ones who are largely involved in the construction activity or such kind of things. So this is the major data points that we have. By the way, guys, just for technical information, heat wave definition, etc., also I have provided you here. Not the part of this particular article, but if you want to have some static information also, you can also get it from this particular box that I have provided. That is all about it. And now let's move to the next article. States have right to tax mineral rich lands. We are going to see this article with respect to GS paper number 2 and GS paper number 3, federalism and related issues. Now, guys, what has happened recently? Supreme Court has given a judgment, and in 8:1 verdict, they have said this particular thing that the states have power to the states have power to tax. The state have unlimited rights to tax the mineral rich lands that they have by the virtue of the by the virtue of this power given to them concurrent uh, because the power has been given to them by the schedule 7 through the state list. Let's understand this particular article. Now, guys, you see this particular thing. In the past, there have been the judgments. For example, there is India Cements Limited case. Here it was provided that here it was provided that what was provided here. Fine. Okay. So basically, what happened here? Uh, here basically a company, India Cements, it challenged the Tamil Nadu's power with respect to imposing the tax. Okay, this particular case was there. Then there was also the state of West Bengal versus Keshoram Industries Limited case. Now, I will not advise you to go in detail in these particular judgments too much because now all the judgments have been overruled by the new judgment that has come. So the new judgment that has come, that is something we need to go in detail. So basically, these judgments were there where earlier the power of the state government to tax the minerals deposits, it was questioned. Now what has happened? Supreme Court has provided this particular thing, that the state legislatures, they have power to tax the minerals in their state boundaries, and this power is a constitutional power. They get this particular power from the entry 50 of the list 2, and parliament cannot override this particular power through the usage of the MMDR Act. MMDR Act, that is the Mines and Mineral Act of 1957. Through this particular act, they cannot limit their powers. Through that, they can limit their powers. In future, if they want, they can make some law, but as of now, through the MMDR Act, their powers cannot be limited. Okay, now it has been provided that list 1, that is the union list, it gives the power to the union, and that the power is to, it gives the regulatory power over minerals, but the taxing power of the minerals is not given to the union, it is given to the state. It is given to the state. Okay, so it has been provided them. So other judgments that have been there, they have been now ruled, and this is something which the Supreme Court holds presently. Okay, now guys, I have also explained here the difference between royalty and a tax. So basically, tax is a statutory power that is given by the government. Any activity, they can tax. What is a royalty? So royalty is an arrangement between two parties. For example, I give you my land, you are taking out stones from my land, and for every ton of stone you take, you need to give me some money. That is royalty. Okay, so that is something that we have here. Now constitutional provisions, all I have provided you here in this particular box also. So this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll be moving on. So this is all guys about this particular session, this particular part.